Hello and welcome to ELLROY Reads. And if I sound a little bit different to you, it's because that last week I was ill and I'm still only partially recovered. But it's okay. It's okay. I don't like being fussed over. I don't like being nursed, and I definitely don't want you to go out and buy 100 copies of Love Me Fierce in Danger just to make me feel better. It's fine. Don't worry. Okay, so the basic format of ELLROY Reads, if you're unfamiliar with the show, is that every week I look at a book that inspired James Ellroy, thrilled him, moved him, entertained him. And the book for this week's show is Out by Natsuo Kirino. And this is part of the Vintage Crime Black Lizard reprints that James Ellroy has written the introduction for all of them. And I've been going through them one by one. Okay, to give you a bit of background, Natsuo Kirino is the pen name of Mariko Hashioka. And she was the daughter of an architect and a very distinguished woman, took a law degree, but decided she wanted to be a writer at a fairly young age and kind of hopped between a number of jobs until she started writing professionally in her 30s in the romance genre, although she found that in Japan that wasn't particularly popular and it was very difficult to make a living in that genre. And what she really wanted to do was to write crime. And by her 40s, she was writing crime and not only writing great crime novels, but becoming one of the most popular crime authors in Japan and actually leading the boom of Japanese crime fiction by female writers. Okay, so the plot of Out is it follows four women who work at a bento factory. Masako, Yoshi, Yayo, and Kuniko. And they've all got they're working the graveyard shift, packing these bento packed lunch boxes. It's kind of miserable work and very low paid. And they're all struggling with debt. They all seem to be in unsatisfactory relationships, be they abusive or just lacking any love through kind of time that's passed. And one night, Yayo's husband comes home, drunk, belligerent. He's always been an abuser. And while he's kind of semi-passed out, she kills him. And once the kind of thrill of the adrenaline rush she gets from kind of killing wears off, she begins to panic because she's got this dead body on her hands. She reaches out to Masako, who is the natural leader of this friendship group. She's the strongest willed character. And ask for help. And they decide with the other two kind of get roped in. They've got to get rid of this body through dismemberment. And then by dropping the bits of the body off at various locations in Tokyo, you have a kind of dazzling array of side characters in this and subplots. But compared to the other novels in the Vintage Crime series, this is quite long in a good way. It's almost Dickensian the amount of characters who are brought in. But you have, even before this Yayo murders her husband, even before that takes place, there is great concern at the bento factory because women are being assaulted near the factory as they come and leave work by this kind of pervert peeper. Voyeur character. We're not sure who it is. We have a club owner, the club where Yao's husband was the night he died. He's basically a pimp, and he has actually a prior murder conviction, which through exploiting loopholes in the Japanese legal system, he only got 7 years for. So he gets embroiled in the murder charge, and of course he's essentially the women have incurred the wrath of this man. He's a very, very dangerous man. Then you have this semi-yakuza character, loan shark type, who wants out of the loan shark business and actually says to the women, let's start a dismemberment business where I bring you the corpses of these unwanted people who've all been knocked off, or various nasty things have happened to them, and we get rid of them, and it's a chance for you to earn some real money. So all of these characters come together very, very nicely. The detective who's investigating the murders, and the women themselves are beautifully rendered. Ellroy writes in the introduction, this he admires this novel greatly. It is brilliant at showing the women's lives because really this is the lives of the women and the lives of everybody who works in the factory. There's a lot here about, there's various parallels between, kind of grisly parallels between the food production industry and the disposal of corpses, which might take strong stomachs to get through those parts. But there's also, wonderful snapshots of life, what life is like for immigrants in Japan. There's a lot about the Brazilian Japanese community, which I happen to know because when I went to Japan, I'm very fortunate to have visited that wonderful country. I know that a lot of Japanese people emigrate to Brazil and vice versa, and there's a thriving community there in both countries. But they have it quite tough. These people are living, from check to check, and really, on their uppers a lot of the time. And it all comes together quite nicely. It goes in quite surprising directions. When it came out, it was quite controversial in Japan. This is 1990s Japan, and it's quite a patriarchal society. And it caused a lot of controversy because, a woman is killing her husband, and that's like the ultimate taboo. Not only is obviously murder in every scenario always wrong, but the idea that a woman could, rob a man of his masculinity in that kind of humiliating way, was controversial. But, good on Natsuo Kirino because, she really broke the glass ceiling amongst Japanese writers. And in some respects, I was quite surprised at how soft it goes on the abusers in some scenes, particularly towards the end. I mean, yes, of course, there's the kind of the kind of psychological castration theme going on, but in a sense, I just thought it was just a little bit soft here and there, and I began to think about it, and it's almost in terms of like these male abusers are in positions of trust. They are the husbands, and they are the partners, or they are the authority figures. They are the managers in the factories. So these women are used. It's drilled into them to look up to them. So in many ways, that verbally, that they ever love these men, or that they're being really really nice to them, until it kicks in. They're just abusers, and they snap. And they snap quite violently in this instance. But we know that male abusers, domestic abusers, snap all the time and with the smallest provocation possible. The novel is really really good. I mean, I'm definitely recommending it for Ellroy Reads. Just a few points. Ellroy's always been quite popular in Japan. He's had a following, and he's never toured there, but he did visit there. It was actually during his engagement to Comrade Joan. They went as a couple. This was after his divorce from Helen, and he saw the cherry blossoms, and he saw various sights. But the trip was a little bit of a disaster because the relationship was kind of trending downwards at that stage. But hey, Comrade Jones already friend to sue me once, so I better not wax eloquent too much on that issue. But I do want you to read Out by Natsuo Kirino. It's an absolutely fantastic novel, and it would be an absolutely fine addition to your bookshelves. Okay, thank you very much for listening. I'll see you next time on Ellroy Reads. Bye bye.